Hi everyone, welcome back to WHU TV. My name is John, your host as always, and I hope you're all doing well, especially under these very, very difficult circumstances for everybody. And I'm hoping still people can hear me because the last time I got on live, the microphone's not been working properly. But as you can see, we've got a guest on today, Barry, who's been doing the regular contributions for Hammers Polls, the same as I have. Barry, how you doing, mate?
I'm very well, thanks, John. Very well. You?
Good. Yeah, struggling, as we talked about, but because there's fuck all to do. But from work, you can go out for the little bit of a walk. There's nothing else to do. As always, guys, this video is sponsored by the channel sponsor 3retro.com. Please click the link in the description below that will take you directly through to the West Ham section of their website, but you don't have to just purchase West Ham stuff from that. Any retro gear you buy through there, the commission that the channel would normally get will be going, I will be donating it to the NHS because I actually found out a way of doing it. Also, if you follow the channel on Facebook, this is going live on Facebook as well. There's a pinned comment on there about the Patreon. So if you want to support the channel that way, by all means, please do so. And also within there's a donate to the NHS button in there as well. So guys, please do check that out. Okay, so Barry, first of all, tell us about you and how you got into West Ham.
Oh, how did I get into West Ham? I was a young boy. I was born in 1970. It was about 1978, I think, when I first went to a game. And my brother has gone on a wrong path. My brother's a Tottenham fan, one of my brothers. And he took me to Tottenham right, when I was young, at the same age. And I remember going there, and it was very boring, is what I'm saying, chat. And I remember about going to West Ham. So then my other brother, Dave, and my cousin Dave, who's from Canning Town, they took me to a West Ham game. And I just remember being there, right? And the roar we scored. And I just remember being a little boy, and the roar just took me to another level. And I just do, people say it, but all the hair stood up on my head. And I felt the goosebumps. And that was it. I was hooked. I'd never felt a scene like it. And I've loved them ever since. And, you know, I still get that same little buzz whenever I was singing Bubbles. I absolutely love it. I can't tell you how much that makes me feel as a kid, as young again, and just so happy. And yeah, and then I was hooked, and I used to go a little bit during the 80s when I was a kid, and I could afford it with my pocket money. Again, through the 90s, I went a bit, but I was a bit in and out of work. And then I managed to get a season ticket around to the late 90s, and I was there, a season ticket holder, till about 2003. And when again, I came out of work. But yeah, I followed them home and away. I love the away games. There's something about the away games. I mean, the bowling was something else, you know. But I mean, I just loved the away games because it was all the singers packed into one small area, and the vibe, and you know, singing whoever's Carrot and Blue Ivy just used to take me away. I loved it, you know. Some great days away. I mean, the one day I'll always remember, always remember, will be the Bartes 2001 away day. That will be the greatest day, I think, I've ever known. Because was you around then? Did you go then?
I wasn't at it, no, but I did manage to get watch it came out when it came out on DVD a little while later. But yeah, it was a brilliant game.
Oh, mate, the atmosphere was mental. Because they wouldn't let us in any pubs. People wouldn't serve us, so we was all out on the street. West Ham fans all out on the street. So we went into the ground so you could use the toilet and things. And there was about 15,000 of us in total. But before the game, there was, shall we say, 8 to 10,000 milling around in the way end and so on. And people were singing and doing the conga and all sorts just to entertain themselves. And then when the team came out, the whole place went absolutely bonkers. We went mad. And the players just stood there and looked at us. And we'd already won the game by then. We were going mental. Man United just didn't know what hit. They thought we were just bonkers. And so when that goal went in, it was right in front of me. I mean, I was quite a way back up, but it was right in front of me. And I just remember going bonkers, absolutely mad. The whole place just erupted. And then to come out of there and outside Old Trafford was completely deserted. All there was West Ham fans. All the Man United had gone away. It was wonderful. It was just so wonderful. But to beat them, I was on cloud for weeks and weeks. And I went to the away game after that. In the cup this year, obviously, Sunderland.
Yeah.
And we won 1-0 there.
That's right. Yeah.
That period of football, I thought was good. Oh, it was awesome. It was awesome. It just and then we went and bleeding lost to Spurs in the next round.
As it always is.
3-2. Oh, isn't it? Oh, it's a killer. That's the thing with West Ham. That's why you've got to love them and hate them, isn't it? When you don't give them an open else chance, because Man United were top of the league then in that FA Cup, and Sunderland were third or fourth in that year. And you wouldn't have given us, as I said, open else chance. And then, my God, we go and beat them. And in Tottenham, we were, I think we were about 14th, 15th. Tottenham were 12th. And you think, we'd have a good run for the money there. And then we lost. Don't they break your heart?
Yeah, I mean that's what we love about the cup, just in general. It's just the fact that you get all pumped up, and then it's like for example, what was it with the League Cup in 2000? Was it 2010 when we beat Man United at home 4-0? On that wintry January day. It's just that's what I love about both the League Cup and the FA Cup. It's just that complete unknown counter in it. But Barry, going back to your early days, mate, can you remember what your first game was at the Bowling back in '78?
No, I can't. I've looked up. I try to remember. I can't remember what it was. I really can't. I've looked it up. I tried to look it up on the internet to try and work it out, but I couldn't. No.
So over those 25 years that you were going to West Ham on a regular basis, from, like you said, from '78 to 03, who was your favourite player out of that period?
Honestly, that's a really hard question.
I know, it's why I'm asking it.
Who was my favourite player? My favourite player. The one that I always thought, really, right, okay, one I really made my heart flutter, and that was Trevor Brooking. Yeah, Trevor Brooking. There's something about him, he was like godlike to me. He was just godlike. I just met him a couple of times. I loved the way he played. He was just so silky on the ball. He really was to me. And had skills that I always wanted, because, I've got an head like a 50p piece, and so's my feet like that, You dream about playing like some players. But the most skillful player I've ever seen was Di Canio. It's between them two, Brooking and Di Canio, to be the most skillful.
Yeah, do you know what, mate? I would absolutely love to, in the realms of fantasy football, to have those two in the same squad, man, because that would be absolutely incredible. I mean, I remember when we had the testimonial for Terry Carr,
what?
when he retired from West Ham, when we had Zola as a manager. I'll never forget it, because he was playing in the All Stars for that night, and sorry, Tony Carr should not Terry Carr. Tony Carr should say, and that was because it was a late night kickoff as well, and it was beautiful. It was everything that we remember West Ham to be. Fantastic players out on the pitch, under the lights, dark as hell. There's just where all the great memories were. I will never forget it when Di Canio came off for the All Stars. I'm not joking. About a third of as we used to call it, the Doc Martin stand started to leave. And then he came back on for the home side, and you just saw this big rush of people coming back on to watch him play. I'll never forget that. It was brilliant. One of my funniest memories I've got. It was superb. But to have Brooking and Di Canio in the same side, along with and keep, for example, I know he's kind of like, I know everybody loves him, but not many people remember him properly. In my personal opinion, is Lampard Senior. What a left back he was! Absolutely. What was it in? Because I was born on the day we won the FA Cup in 1980, and so I obviously don't remember. I've seen the games and whatnot. But yeah, just watched it the first time I watched. What was it with? Was it West Brom in the semi-final? I think it was when Lampard just started dancing with the corner flag, because how much that goal meant to him. was just, it's stuff like that you don't see at any other football club. And even now to this day with Antonio and those bloody stupid celebrations he does, I love it for the same reason, because it just shows that he's just how important the game is to certain players. But so up until obviously, when we moved 4 years ago, what was your favourite game that you saw at the bowling?
Favourite game at the bowling? Well, there was two I was thinking about. One of my favourite games was the 5-4 v Bradford.
Mm-hmm.
What year was that? That was like 98, 99. We were, and that was the one where that was the that Redknapp talked about as well. So we were 2-0 2-0 up. The Canio should have had a couple of penalties. He was throwing his teddies out the pram, and was getting really upset. And then was it the third goal? And then we got, so they were 4-2 up. Then we got a third goal, 4-3. I think that might have been a penalty. And that's where we argued with Frank. Lampard Jr. to take the penalty. And we went on to win 5-4. I remember that was just that was one of those games that was completely bonkers. You couldn't call it. You didn't know what was going on. That both teams were good at some points and rubbish at others, and making silly mistakes. And but the atmosphere was electric. That's what I remember. The atmosphere was so crazy. Everyone was singing. Everyone was absolutely going bonkers. And crazy game. And then obviously to come back from 4-2 down and to win it, that was just fantastic. And then that was fantastic. And then one I always remember as well, obviously everybody talks about it, is the Wimbledon game where Di Canio scored a wonderful volley. To be there. And sometimes you watch things in real time. Do you find this? And then when you watch them on the telly, you go, "Oh, I didn't see that happen."
Yeah, big time. Loads of things. I've always said that watching the game on the telly is totally different to watching it in person, because at the end, like you're saying in reality, because at the end of the day, you're only seeing what the director of the program wants you to see. One thing I really miss, I know that BT do every now and again, but one thing I really miss is what Sky used to do, is where you should be able to, you could put a camera on one of the players and you'd be able to see that player play the entire time. I really miss that. That was really, really good fun with that. Guys, I know there's a lot of you talking in the chat, so I'm just going to say, do shouts to quick everybody. So hello Phil, good to see you again, mate. The West Ham fan is in as well. Good, hello mate. And Darren's in as well. It's loud and clear about me talking about the microphone. Darren's over in Bangkok at the moment, so he's staying up late to watch it. Dave's in as well. Good mate, good to see you again. Mick Smith saying about the Man United Cup game, saying it was on live on the box at the time. You're right, Mike. It was. I wasn't able to watch it unfortunately in those days, but I was able to watch it a little while later. Well, it's Dave says his favourite game is Brady's final game against Wolves for me. Not sure which Brady's referring to, but I'm hoping it's a player.
Liam Brady, he was magical. He was another talented lad. But he always, what's the word I'm looking at? To me, I could never get it out that he was a gooner, like Ian Wright. Could never get it out of my mind. But he was a very talented player.
Yeah, I know what you mean, because what was it? We had then we signed a player from Spurs a few years back, but he only made like one appearance because he picked up an hamstring injury. Who was it? There's somebody that I was reading about the other day. I can't remember what he's in now, but he literally terminated his contract with us back in it must have been in the 90s at some point. Mid to late 90s, I think. I can't remember, but I mean, Barry, we were talking about this off on camera, and me having that recollection has kind of brought it around to get to the moment, because obviously, things are ridiculously stupid when it comes to the situation with the lockdown and everything. But first and foremost, mate, how are you finding life in general?
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm quite lucky because I get to go to work. But when I'm not at work, I'm at home. I'm not finding it too bad. I've got a garden, so I get out there. I'm getting a bit of fresh air, doing some exercise. So I'm not finding it too bad because I'm only having to stay in for 3 to 4 days at the most, and then I get to go back to work.
That's good. So what is it you do for work?
I work for the London Ambulance Service. I'm a technician on a frontline ambulance.
Good, mate. Good. I'm glad we need people like you out there at the minute. We really do. Now, this is a question that someone legitimately asked me last night. Just I legitimately didn't know what your occupation was, and I'm glad you said it is. Under the circumstances, if because obviously everything but most vital surgery has been cancelled at the moment, and everything's, as quite rightly so, has been put a priority on for the coronavirus. Just it's going to take a bit of a dark turn for a second, but I was literally asked this last night, and I have no idea what the situation would be if somebody dies from home. What's the sort of turnaround for the paramedics? Is it still normally the same sort of turnaround, or is it a lot quicker now? Do you know at all?
No, I don't. It would just be the same length of time, as far as I know.
Okay. Yeah, because we were talking about this because the person I was talking to was saying that because she works as a carer, and she said that it took 12 hours for somebody to come out and collect the person when they passed away. Unfortunately, I was hoping. What I said to her, well, hopefully in this instance, with everything going on, would be a little bit quicker like that. And you would hope, but no, as I say, mate, I'm glad you're out there helping everybody as much as possible. I mean, how busy? I know it's a bit of a rhetorical question, but how busy is it for you at the minute?
It's very busy. It was very, very busy. Yeah, that's all I can really say. They don't like me talking to the, should we say, the media. I'm not supposed to talk to the media or give any opinion. All opinions are my own.
No. I wasn't expecting you saying what your hourly shifts are and everything, but no,
They are very busy. It's very, very busy. Everybody is just really snowed under at the moment, and everybody is working and doing their best and trying their best. And all the other things you hear in the media, do realise that everybody is doing their best to get to everyone. But sometimes people do have to wait. It's very unfortunate.
But like I've always said, guys, stay at home as much as you can. I know it's a pain in the ass because there was a report came out, article that came out yesterday, saying that there's an increase in traffic in certain areas of especially London, which is a worry because again it seems people aren't taking this as serious as they should do.
People should take it seriously, and I've listened to your show and your channel, and you're right. People should stay at home. Stay at home, stay indoors. I know it's tough, but if we don't stay at home, the virus will just escalate. So we need to stay at home. We need to listen to what they're telling us. There isn't any conspiracy theories or anything like that. It's a real emergency. Stay at home. I know it's tough, but we've all got to stick together and stay at home for the good of everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And as a collective fan base, we're pretty good most of the time when it comes to solidarity. So hopefully, a few more people are going to be listening to that. So thank you very much, Barry. Right, so let's get back to the big subjects that we were talking about that I can't wait to talk about. Spurs, because we love, as West Ham supporters, love slagging them off as much as we possibly can. Now, this stupidity from Daniel Levy, etc. Reducing the actual workers, shall we say, of Spurs, and yet all of their main players not taking a pay cut or anything for that matter. Your thoughts on this, Barry? The floor is yours, son.
I just think it's awful. It's a terrible thing to do. The football players get paid so much money, and the people that are working in there, a lot of students. Yeah, there are family people as well working in the background, grounds people that serve the food on a match day, etc. They're on not on a good wage compared to all the football players. The football clubs should not be asking the government for money. Yeah, players should be taking a pay cut, and we'd be willing to take a pay cut and offering to take a pay cut to pay the staff within those clubs. This virus doesn't discriminate, does it? Boris has had it. Prince Charles has had it. The poorer people in society have had it. These football players live like kings. They can isolate, help people out. It's a time for trying to help your fellow man out, and it's just awful that a club as rich as Tottenham are doing that. It's the same as the Mike Ashley thing at Newcastle. The geezer's a
Yeah.
billionaire. Stick your hand in your pocket, do it yourself. Yeah, you know, if you, you know, people. I'm not a businessman. I've just told you what I do for a job. If people like who are businessmen look after their staff, people will work harder for you and have a more affinity to or loyalty to you as a worker and want the business to do better. Just, you know, stop being greedy. That's what it is. That's all it comes down to me is greed. And I just think that's disgusting at this time when everyone's struggling.
Exactly, and it's not just that as well, because obviously, what was it? Who was it the other day about was it the Weatherspoons owner as well? It was pulling this shit, and same thing with Richard Branson asking money to help. Was it Virgin Railway? I think it was, or whatever it was. When the man's, and I know a lot of his wealth is tied up in properties and whatnot, like David Sullivan and all that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, the man's not short of a few quid at the same time. I mean, what annoys me about the whole situation with Spurs, I mean, apart from the fact of how much we all hate them anyway, it's just the fact that it's clear that like you're saying, he's going cap in hands, and the other players, other teams are going to be doing the same thing. And but why? I mean, this is, we've seen this coming for a long time. We all know how much greed there is in the Premier League. I mean, for this stupid thing that for this stupid story that's been coming out for the last week or so, saying about these putting the players in isolated little camps and playing games 3 or 4 times a week to 3 or 4 times a day for in a sort of like a World Cup sort of format to get the season up and finished is ridiculous. All it takes, like I said the other day when we talked about it, is all it takes is one player to have the symptoms, and that's both teams wiped out for at least 2 weeks because they can't risk it. It's money over people, and and to be honest with you, like we were saying off air about players, you know, some players are granted further down the leagues are legitimately going to their boss and say, right, I'm happy to take a pay cut, not just in the UK but in Europe as well. There's been quite a few stories coming out of various players saying, right, you know, I think Juventus, I think that those were the sets of players that said, you know, we're happy to take a pay cut until everything's back to normal. But
Messi has as well.
Second,
Lionel Messi and Barcelona players have said the same.
Yeah, so you know, it's great from that side of things, and the flip side of it was finding out that Alex Song is taking his current employers to court because they've asked him to go down to 12 grand a week, 12,000 euros, I should say, a week. It's just it boggles the mind. It really does boggle the mind, Barry. And this is the perfect time now. It's never going to happen, but it's a perfect time now to bring back the wage cap, because when the league starts, there's going to be a massive overhaul of players. I really think there is, because the majority of the time there's going to be players that want to go back to their families in their respective countries.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I hadn't thought of that.
You know, because like for example, you know, I mean, Declan Rice is all right because his parents are only a couple of hours down the road. But when you think of players like like Felipe Anderson, I think Sebastian Haller as well he hasn't brought his family with him, so you know he's going to be on the phone every couple of hours, making sure they're all right, making sure and stuff. And likewise, I feel really sorry for Mikel Antonio. Reading earlier this morning, I didn't know about it until I read it this morning, that he lost his father a few days ago. So obviously, I thought all of our thoughts on as a collective are out with Antonio and his family, because he couldn't have sat by his dad's bedside when he was in his last few hours. Wasn't able to give his mum the hug and the love that she needed when her husband died. You know, it's just this is one of the things where people just need to be more mindful of what they're doing, because the quicker this stops, the quicker we can get our lives back to normal. But I really do hope that more common sense kicks in once everything's back to normal, and actually people remember what life is about. I really do, because at the end of the day, you know, when you go food, and Barry, you've probably seen it yourself if you do go food shopping. Every time I go food shopping, people are actually looking around, making sure that no one's near them. You don't see that in the normal day. Nobody gives any consideration to anyone else most of the time. But under these duress circumstances, it's making people remember how to be human, and it's sad that it's taken something like this in order to do it. But
yes, well said.
Thank you, mate.
Well said. Well said.
Now, also, I didn't know about this until I watched Gonzo's video early today. Apparently, there's a dispute with Souček's loan deal. Now, I don't know if this is genuine or this is just David Sullivan mouthing off because things aren't working out properly. But Barry, what are your thoughts on Souček first and foremost before we talk about it?
I quite liked him. I thought he was a good acquisition to the team. Noel Nobes, he's coming to the end of his career, and he's in the twilight of his career. I thought he was a good replacement, and I like what he was doing. But what is it with us? The bloke has never been injured, and then he comes to us and gets injured. What's happening? Are we cursed? What is that all about? Did he play 2 games and then he got injured?
So, well, yeah, because he picked up the injury in the Liverpool game. So yeah, pretty much 2.5, pretty much.
Yeah. And it wouldn't surprise me if there was some legality that hadn't gone correct with us.
Yeah.
I think we're a bit Minnie Mouse like that sometimes. I hope he doesn't have to go back because there's something wrong. It would be terrible.
Yeah,
he's a good player for us. He'd do well for us.
Yeah. I think he's a terrific player. I really, really do. And my thoughts are exactly the same, Barry. It's just the fact that it wouldn't be at all surprising. I mean, Barry, bearing in mind what came out, was it 2-3 years ago? All this stuff that I can't remember what team it was, but all those emails were leaked with Sullivan saying that I'm gonna if we don't buy him, we're gonna go and find someone else and all this sort of stuff. Where was that now? That was about 3 years ago. But anyway, but nothing surprises me when it comes to David Sullivan. It really doesn't. So right, to bringing it round to a bit more modern style football, how do you think we've done so far this season? I know we've kind of touched on it on Hammers Poles videos and whatnot, but in general.
Oh, I'm bitterly disappointed. Very much underachieved this season. Very much underachieved. My hopes for this season with the team, all right, and I was a Pellegrini fan. Well, I really wanted him at the beginning. Yeah. I thought we were going to set the world on fire. I was expecting top 10, 8th even, and a great FA Cup, run. I was expecting, that's what I wanted. I wanted 8th, and I wanted at least an FA Cup semi-final, and we've got none of that.
Yeah.
People underachieved. Something's gone wrong. People aren't fighting for each other. The players ain't playing for each other. They're starting to get back to that. But, Pellegrini completely lost it. People were not playing as a team, and individuals. People weren't running for the ball. And so I'm bitterly disappointed. It was really, really underachieved, and we've probably overspent. People like Yarmolenko. A great player when he's there, but he's a bit injury prone. We haven't seen the best of him, have we?
No.
Lanzini, terrible shame with that. He's a wonderful player, but I just think the romance is over with him. He's someone's going to have to go, because he'll go to somewhere else and he'll be magnificent. But he needs a breath of fresh air. There's no disrespect, and he don't disrespect us. But I just think the relationships come to an end, and for both parties, we've got to move on.
I take it your feelings are the same for Jack Wilshere as well, then, mate. Yeah.
Oh yeah, see ya. Yeah, he should go. If he wants to rekindle in his career, he should go to Derby or go to a Championship side and start down there. Sitting here on wages like that. I mean, that's what's wrong with our club. How many times in our history have we done that?
Yeah.
How many times have we had a player of great skill, and he's been injured and he's sat there just taking the money and not playing? It cripples us. It's shocking that it keeps happening. We don't learn by our mistakes.
No, we never do, and that's the West Ham way, though, isn't it?
It is the West Ham way. Yes, it is the West Ham way. We're
It's
complete.
one of many West Ham ways. Doing things the hard way is definitely in the top three of it. But I mean, I agree with you completely, mate. I was when I did my predictions for the start of the season, I said we finished 10th last season, so therefore the logic would be that we should be aiming for 9th. I mean, but Barry, what do you think went wrong? I mean, apart from you covered it a little bit, but in general, what do you think has gone wrong this season?
What do I think's gone wrong? Oh. My humble opinion, and this is about an ethos with the club, is I think that some clubs can take a lot of foreign players and some can't. And we're one of those that can't. We need to have a basis of British players. Yes. So, and even Irish players. Yeah. Because we're a meat and two veg side. Yeah. We want to see people play hard. But if we can add a few luxury players like a Di Canio, excuse me, like Anderson. Oh, his name was on the tip of my head there. Someone we bought in the 70s from Anderlecht. Can't think of his name. It's gone out of my head. But, have someone like that come in to give us a bit of a spark, then yes. But really, we are a club that needs to have homegrown British players because they understand what the fans really want. Yeah. But they want to see people, I believe, West Ham fans want to see people out there giving it 100%. And if we lose, we lose. But if they've given 100%, we'll clap them off the pitch and we'll sing their name and love them to pieces. But if they start going, missing, and that's what I think what it is, they didn't have the grit and determination to go out there and play in front of us. And the ground doesn't G them up. So they can, whereas at the Boleyn, they couldn't, there was no hiding, was there? If you was having a rubbish game, the fans were on your back and you knew about it and that would G you up. But
well, I know what you mean, mate. But to counteract that, you're right. That's most of the time. But over the last in the last 3 3/4 years, we've been over the London Stadium. I've heard it's got raucous in good ways and bad ways. It's like, for example, first time we beat Spurs there with Lanzini 1-0 goal. That was the best atmosphere I'd heard for a while. There's what was it, the Brighton game as well this season was a brilliant atmosphere for most of it. We've got a bit of an interloper here. We've got a Leyton Orient fan in. Hi, Teresa. It's good to see you. In general, the atmosphere is nowhere near as much as it used to be at the Boleyn. But at the same point, I still maintain that we had shocking atmospheres at the Boleyn as well. We had some awful stuff. I remember games, especially when we were down in the Championship, when we should be jumping around left, right, and centre when we were there with Allardyce. Some of that we could hear a pin drop. I was like, this is the fucking Championship. Like, what was it? Bristol, that 0-0 draw. You could honestly, if Allardyce had dropped a pin over in the dugout, you could have heard it in the chicken run. It was so quiet that night. I'll never forget that.
Yes, you're right. Sometimes it was a bit flat, wasn't it, at the Boleyn? It could be, but I would agree with you. Yes. It just makes it worse now because we've got more people in there that haven't been going regularly. I mean, as a result, I mean, yes, okay, you've always got the tourists that come in and get the tickets and whatnot. But again, we had that at the Boleyn, just not as many. But yeah, it just because it's a new place, everybody just feels it's different. And I mean, it is different, of course. I mean, it's never going to be. It's not a football stadium in under any shape or form. I like the place. I think it's a great utility stadium, what it is, but. For going there week in, week out for the last almost 4 years, you ignore everything now. You ignore the fact that there's scaffolding everywhere, and you ignore the fact that there's tarpaulin to cover up the things. It's just. But what I meant by that, John, was when I was saying is because the fans were so close to the pitch, they could really intimidate players, couldn't they?
Oh yeah.
Like down the chicken run there, where I used to see sometimes, they used to really get on the right back or their left wing as a case, and there was some witty banter going on there. I missed that. That's what I missed. That really from the Boleyn. So there was some right comedians sitting around there, coming out of all sorts of stuff. They used to make me cry with laughter. Cry. Cry. But yeah, I feel that we had to move. Did you feel that we had to move from the bowling?
Yes and no. I was very much for the move because I thought yes, all right, yes, there is the potential for excellence to bring us on to the next level and all that bullshit. I brought in, and I still to this day I still maintain it was the right decision. It wasn't the right decision to do it in the way that they've done it, but for me, I'm really, really torn with this because as much as it was beautiful to go down to the bowling, I really, really hated walking down Green Street before the match day because you were literally risking your life because the amount of people walking down Green Street, especially coming out of Upton Park Tube Station, when you got buses and cars and other people. So that I really, some of it was dangerous. I mean, it's it wasn't like it was flying down at 50 miles an hour or anything, but a lot of people weren't paying attention, especially when they were stuck. People in their cars were stuck there for 10 minutes because there's so many people and they get an opportunity and they try and drive in and stuff. So that side of things, I don't miss it in any shape or form. But overall, I missed the old ground because there was 4 generations of my family in that ground. Not all at once, but it goes back to with my family lineage. It goes back to the Thames Ironworks days. So there's and it was like my uncles were there. My granddad is there. His dad was watching games at both grounds as well, for that matter. So it was so that side of it I didn't want to leave. Of course, like everybody, but yeah. I do agree that we needed something better. As much as I love the stadium, we needed something that was going to try and get rid of the curse. I mean, let's face it. That's what we were trying to hope for, is that we get to the London Stadium. There'll be more people. There'll be more money available. Bringing in better players, bringing in better managers. It just didn't work. It's the West Ham way. Again, just doing things the hard way.
It is. It's that line in that song. Just like my dreams, they fade and die.
Yeah,
we live up to that.
I'm with you, mate, because we were talking about it just before we went live. I love that song, but I hate singing it for that one line because that's the jinx. I honestly think if we stop singing that, I think we'll start doing better. I really think we will.
It's in our blood. It's in our DNA. We're going to have to sing it. We're going to have to sing it.
Yeah, Ben's made quite a good comment on this. Is the atmosphere can be good at times. Upton Park was better, no doubt, but it was also quiet at times. Yeah. Now, the reason why I was saying about this thing is because Willian, the Chelsea player, has actually done quite an interesting. He's had quite an interesting conversation with ESPN over in Brazil. I was reading this morning, basically summing up in one line. It says Chelsea midfielder Willian thinks Liverpool are so far ahead in the Premier League table because they have not changed manager since 2015. I tend to agree with him. Because not just because Chelsea love to change a manager every 5 minutes anyway. I mean, fair play, they've stuck with Lampard this season. I mean, they had no choice to a degree. But I agree with him because you've got to stick behind the manager, and that's the one thing our owners don't do.
I agree. Yeah, because you've got to give someone, haven't you? You've got to give someone a chance to put their ethos on the park, to get the players that they want, and to get them onto the same way of thinking, to play the way that the manager wants to play. And in this current age of football, I think they chop and change the managers too much. And we have done that, unfortunately. And we had to change Pellegrini, but I think he brought a bit more professionalism to the club. I read about, saying that certain things weren't up to standard and so on, which was good. But yes, we need to. If we're going to have boys, we've got to stick with him, and we've got to give the bloke a chance to put, as I said, to put what he's in his mind, get the team that he wants, and put it on the park.
Yeah,
and sculpt the team, and then you might have success. Look at that geezer at Sheffield United.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. Sort of what I was alluding to. That's a British idea of a team. He's got an ethos. This is what we do, and we bring players in that play it.
Yeah,
Sean Dyche does the same, I feel.
I mean, it scares me when you think about it. The amount of managers we've had since and including Redknapp. You know, it's been absolutely ridiculous. We've hardly stuck with anybody. I mean, West Ham were well known up until what, the late 90s, early 2000s, of sticking by their managers for long periods. Now a manager doesn't get more than 3 or 4 years.
That's right, yeah, because they look at it as a business instead of a passion, shall I say, to give a difference, isn't it? Because yes, it's a business. Yes, you have to make it profitable, but at the end of the day, it's a passion, isn't it? It's about, it is results on the field, but the results happen because there's passion, because people care, because people want to win, isn't it? And everyone gets behind that, and that's what I feel that it lacks.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. Okay, so just to end this on a high note, because I've actually noticed we've been quite dour on this conversation for most of it, trying to make things as funny as possible, but you just can't at the minute. That's the worrying thing. But okay, Barry.
Yes.
I apologise in advance because I thought I asked you this yesterday, and when I looked through the list, I didn't ask you this. What is your all-time West Ham starting 11?
Jesus. Oh gosh. My starting 11 would be Parks in goal.
Mm-hmm.
Centre backs. Centre backs. Alvin Martin.
Yep.
Now, would I play Bonzi there? I'd probably play Bonzi as centre back as well.
Mm-hmm. I see the thinking behind it. Take no shit under any circumstances. So yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Well, I believe they work really well together
when
they played together. It was a bit, So I'd have them two, and then in the midfield, who would you have in the midfield?
Hang on. You need left back and right back. You've only done your centre back so far.
I'm trying to give myself some time there.
Okay, all right.
Who I'd have as a left back? Off the top of my head, who would be right back? Potsy, Stevie Potts. He was good. I like Potsy. I like Potsy.
His boy was not that bad either, was he? Dan Potts. I was quite surprised at him how short his career was with us. I thought he was a good player.
Yeah, I was had hopes for him. That's another thing that's happened with West Ham. We're not bringing young blood through anymore.
Well, with the exception of Grady and Grady Dean Garner and Gakio. In general, we're not doing it as regular as we used to do.
I wanted to see him in our team rather than loan them all out all the time. I can't think of a right back at the minute. Lampard. What about Frankie? The old senior. Is that two left backs then?
Yeah. I mean, technically, in those days, you probably could play him at right back. I mean, he was versatile enough to do it.
It'd have to be Frank. Frank first.
Mm-hmm.
And right, then in the midfield, it'd have to be Brooklyn.
Yeah.
After it's got to be Trevor. And then now they're both similar players, but I just like them. It's Joe Cole. I think he was great. I loved watching him play.
Yeah,
I love watching him play. Winger, Devonshire, and Sinclair. I love Trevor Sinclair.
Oh, that's lethal. That is lethal. The two of them together.
Yeah, and because Di Canio is going to be up front. Now, I used to love watching Di Canio and Sinclair play. They used to really make each other play, but Di Canio made Sinclair a better player. I felt you could see that they read the same. They knew what each other was doing without looking. It was fantastic. Di Canio was running, he'd play the ball with him, Sinclair, and he'd just keep running because would get the ball to him through how many people. He'd get the ball in up the wing, and then he'd lay the ball into Canute. Yeah. And then up front, like I said, Di Canio, but then I would have Cotty. We've got McAvenny as well. Who are you going to have? Frank or Tony Cotty? But I'd go with Cotty. So Cotty. And I've got Devonshire, I said, on one wing, Sinclair on the other, didn't I? I said Brooklyn and Cole, two up front. Lampard, Martin, Bonzi. And hang on. Here I am thinking of those. I never see the geezer play, but you've got to have Moro in there, haven't you?
I was going to say I was waiting for you to put him in.
Well, you got to stick Moro in there, so oh dear, oh dear, that's really tough because you've got to have Bonzi in there and all.
Yeah,
Bonzi played as a fullback, right or left. I can't remember. So you can have Moore in the middle, Pierce, Moore in the middle, Alvin Martin, and then Lampard and Moore. Couldn't you playing out to left and right backs?
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be
work. Yeah,
that would definitely be a smash and grab starting 11. Definitely.
That wouldn't be too bad. See, because there's people you miss there. Sorry, I'm waffling. You got me thinking like Ian Pearce. I loved him as a centre back. He was great. You know, there's Tony Gale. Oh, it's a tough question.
I know. And as I said, mate, I legitimately said when we were saying to the sort of stuff we can talk about, I honestly thought I said, I want to know your all-time 11. So apology. You've done well, mate, thinking on your feet. That's been pretty good. I
don't know if anyone else agreed, but yeah, it's an interesting question, isn't it? Who's your favourite 11? It's a tough one.
It's always a tough one, yeah. Which is why I always ask people in advance because you can't. You're just trying to go through, especially with your 42, 43 years worth of football knowledge. You're trying to put them all stuck them all in. It's not easy, really isn't easy. But Barry, thank you very much for your time, mate. It's been absolutely a pleasure to talk to you. And guys, thank you very much for watching and some of the comments you've been putting in as well. It's been brilliant. So yeah, I've got to go back to work now because my lunch hour is over, unfortunately. As much as I'd love to talk to you for a lot longer, because this is only about a third of what I was hoping we could talk about. But it's just the time constraints, unfortunately. But we'll have to have you back on at some point, Barry, to conclude the conversation. Hopefully, maybe when the rest of the season concludes, if it does actually go ahead, then we can talk about we can have a season review together or something. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be grand. Thank you, John, for having me on. Stay safe.
Yeah.
And stay in.
Yeah, as we talked about, stay at home, keep yourself sane, bet on the Belarus football if you want, because that's the only football that's going on at the minute, apparently. So, because even with there's nothing going on. Even obviously, Wimbledon's been cancelled this week as well. So it's dire times. But guys, look after yourselves. Take care. If you like this brand new polo shirt that literally came through the post today for the channel shop, then by all means there's a link in the description as well for that. So guys, thank you very much for your time. Look after yourselves, and I'll see you very, very soon.